Going to a football match in the middle of pandemic feels like an undergoing induced test in a reality TV show. A pre-match message instructs me to arrive at Hampden Park in Glasgow 3 hours before Scotland arrive in Czech Republic. I must wear a mask at all times. I must take in all food from my micro bag to plastic bag provided by the stadium, and every wallet will be shop so on. 난 아침을 먹을 when I read cover the stadium, 3 hours early, the crowd are pretty fingers right. The top outside of the overflow with supporter wrapped in scarlet flag. Look like a temperature, but when I suggest to sure that my go get a drink ahead of the game, I look up concerned with their kindly face. We probably thought we were going to the game. Where's your coming? Rice is burnt to put it in bunch with better for sideline protein. I have given my spare ticket to a real staff. My friend Alastair. Alastair. But it's from Edinburgh, so also not 100% at home in Glasgow. We decide to take the device and skip the pub inside the stadium. We encounter a fan in the loudest tartan I've ever seen, including a town called Cashback. I pose for a photo with him and lift at me. I have to tell myself it's just smell like a glove. It is not just COVID regulations that make this unique and peculiar of the football tournament. Your turn, yeah? Your train as French still insists on calling has also become sucked into the culture wars. The pub outside of overflow with National football team as symbol of the nation, but that is not a straightforward task at a time when national identity is so fiercely contested. The pressing issue for Scotland it is independent. For England it is race. It is race. It is race. The English football team has decided to take the knee before matches as a protest against racism, but each time they do it, they are booed by a significant section of their own supporters. Even the government seems uncertain about how to respond. After hesitating for a while, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, condemned the booing and urged fans to get behind the team, but two members of his cabinet, Jacob Rees-Mogg and Priti Patel, defended the protesters and defended the protesters who were visiting the Day30 defended the protesters. The cabinet. With the Lismo suggesting that the protesters were not expressing racism but that condemning the Marxist of Black Lives Matter movement. Patel, brilliant some security, had accused the player of indulging in gesturing politics. Players from the England team whose pre-game press conferences are normally confined to discussing tactics, injuries, and the atmosphere inside the camp, and now being asked to wear home security. It would be natural to assume that cabinet ministers are better at politics than footballers, but the Johnson government has reason to be wary of the clashing with the England team. Last year, it went down to an economic defeat when it took a microstretch for overextension of free school meal for poor families. Last year, it went down. For poor families. So Manchester United in England forward mobilised a million signatures behind the petition and forced the Johnson government to change that. The 23-year-old Rashford preparation for Euro 2020 has defended fans who were visiting him saying that preparation for Euro 20 included a Zoom call with Barack Obama, while plenty of tourists are prepared about grumble about in Rashford. None are willing to take him in public. The culture wars of football are not just happening in Britain. The multiracial Belgian team took the knee Russia ahead of their opening game. They were also booed by the crowd. By the crowd. Now the Russian also protesting against Marxism. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, one of the host nations for U20, had defended fan who wouldn't sympathetic, saying the Hungarians did the gesture as a provocation. Orban is himself a right-wing provocateur who has become a hero to the Trumpist right in America by issuing frequent warning about the allegedly dangerous Europe being flooded by Muslims. Europe being flooded by Muslims. But even some moderate conservatives are uncomfortable with football but taking the knee from one Tory thinker taking the knee. One prominent Tory thinker breathes in line to me that football used to be in a political space, but now the national team has become a source of division. I can see what it means this year's tournament inevitably brings back memories of Euro 96, when England also played their games at Wembley and the whole country did seem to get behind the team in an uncomplicated sort of way. Back then, packed the stadium, joining the three joined the singing in the singing of Three Lions. Football's coming home. Now the stadium are largely empty, and some of the home crowds are actually pulling the place. By somebody who has been to many England games over the years, I know that the idea that the team was never mixed up with politics or race is an illusion. England games have always attracted a substantial number of soldier hooligan and far-right supporters who trademark chant is no surrender to the RA. The last year, At the last European Football Championship in France in 2016, the ugly tradition of English football hooliganism emerged. When I remarked another fan that I hadn't particularly enjoyed being caught up in a near riot outside a bar in Marseille, I was told curtly, if you don't like it, you should stay at home and watch the game on television. Football ground in the 1970s were also where I saw the most over racing that I ever witnessed in Britain. It was routine to see black players bark Bibles and monkey noises. The football authorities and commentators were silent about this for many years, so if the national side feel they want to make a statement about racism, it is hard to accuse them of bringing police into internal political space. The plagues, particularly the racial plagues, have always been there. The identity issues are rather different for Scotland. Euro 2020 comes as the Scottish government is ramping up demand for a second independent referendum. This is the first major international tournament the team has qualified for since 1998, neatly fitting the narrative of national revival. Arriving in Scotland for the first game of the tournament, I find the local paper full of optimism. In recognition of the enormity of the occasion, the Scottish government has even allowed school staff lessons to allow the kids to watch the game against Czech Leafs. As a visiting English fan, I wonder how I feel about all this. I grew up supporting Scotland in big international tournaments. I had little option since England failed to qualify for the World Cup of 1974 and 1978. But British identity was less complicated back then. Packed the stadium. The anthem played. For the Scotland side that lined up to play Brazil in 1974 was God Save the Queen, although to recording on our show the Scottish player looking particularly delighted. Today the crowd and team will be battling out for Scotland with a stern word that we can still rise now and beat our nation again. When Scotland qualified for the World Cup of 1973, there were more than 9,000 people inside Hampden, but today, thanks to COVID, it's a little over 9,000. Far from the joyous return to the big time that has been advertised, it feels pretty black and lonely on the stand. Lonely on the stand. Even if the title has been reviewed, can you remember 제가 와서 드라마